Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne and you are on Ginger Chick Rehab, where I love to take second-hand thrifted pre-loved items and share the process with you, my vision for making these items over. So we're going to start right off with these amazing trio of very detailed candlesticks. Oh, do they have some amazing detail, but they're a little bit shiny, blingy for me. So I loved them because of all of the detail. So first of all, it was a set of 3 for 12 something, whatever the ending price is at a Goodwill, but I thought that was a rather good price. So as I'm taking off the bottom sticker, I'm like, when is the last time something was that cheap? Oh my gosh, how many years old? They're probably vintage at that price. And yes, I did notice that the bottom one had been re-glued on, but I wasn't worried. The way that I want to paint these at the end, I know that I can hide that brokenness that wasn't quite glued on evenly, but you'll have that. So the heat gun is definitely helping remove the stick. It reactivates the sticky, and then it helps for you to be able to remove that very large tag on the bottom of this. So I am going to attempt to sand a little bit of the shiny, especially the long tube part of the candlesticks, just trying to help give a surface area for what I want to paint to stick onto, since the resin it's just there. So, and the top coat and the paint in general is really shiny. It was only the small one that had been broken on and re-glued, and it's just a little crack. I mean, of course you see the crack, but I think just a little spackling, working in with my fingers, just trying to feather it out, I think I'll be able to hide that. So I'll go ahead and get these cleaned off just with some Dawn dish soap and some hot water. Also, to help my paint stick and to seal in where that spackle is, I sprayed these with a couple coats of shellac, and then after the couple coats of shellac are dry, I'm going to go in and I'm going to spray the entire candlesticks with Rust-Oleum's enamel paint in the flat black. This is just going to give me a great base color, hopefully a good bond. You know, resin is resin, so we're trying to make something that's non-porous except paint. End goal for these trio of candlesticks is to make them look like salvaged finds. So we covered up the gold. I've got the black going on. I want a third color, and I'm going in with Little Lamb Fusion Paint, which has a paint, primer, and top coat all in one. So I should have good adhesion to the enamel paint that I painted earlier. It's just like a layering effect to get that salvaged look and really to get paint to bond to resin. Some items that you pick up at thrift stores are a little bit more needy than other items, and resin would be one of those. So now I'm moving on to really give it that salvaged look by mixing up some Sweet Pickins milk paint in the flour sack. So all my prep, I'm hoping that I'm just going to get a crazy and crackly look with this, that it'll bond to there. So Sweet Pickins milk paint is a powder that you mix in with a water. So equal parts, you stir it for 2 minutes, you set it off the side, you let it thicken for 2 to 10 minutes, and then you can proceed on painting. As I proceed in with my second coat, you notice that my first coat, I was really kind of doing a dabbing motion, just trying to get the paint on there, trying to give it some texture, give it that raised bumpy look. And with the second coat, I can go on a little bit smoother. I've got it in all those detailed areas. And of course, it took a little bit longer to dry because doing that, it was really kind of pooling up in the detail areas. But that's okay because I'm hoping that by the time, this is going to take 3 coats, by the time the third coat is on, I'll get some beautiful cracking and crazeling. Hopefully not too much chippiness. I really don't want it to chip back down to that gold color. 3 coats later, and we have some beautiful crazing. Not a lot of chippiness is what I was hoping with my prep. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to seal this milk paint in, hoping not to disturb it too much, with a coat of Weather Defense. Clear coat. Sometimes it seems like a lot of work to get paint to stick to something, but sometimes it just is. So I love the prep. It feels like it is good and on there. Now I'm going back in with Fusion's aging wax, which will add some dirt, but not change the white color all that much. All I'm looking for is for that aging wax to get into those crevices. You can kind of see the crevices. You can see the cracking with the black underneath and a little bit of the gray, but I just really want to bring it out just a little bit more using some of the aging wax. So it is wipe on and then wipe off, and I'm using some clear natural wax to help me wipe off. So if I would have done this before sealing it in with the clear coat, my white paint would have turned more of a cream color, and I wanted it to stay that white color. And then using a waxing brush is really kind of helping it push into those detailed areas, and then using the rag is helping to wipe it off. So I'm in love with how I just was hoping that all these details were just going to pop, so you can really tell the difference between non-waxed and waxed. So isn't this just a long trough? And it actually came with a whole bunch of bottles, but I took them out because we were going to make this over now. It's a new purchase good that I thrifted. The wood is like, it's just that lightweight wood. Going to remove the tag, and I thought this would have a great salvage look too, though we're not going to go white on this one. No, I would like this to look like a Red Barn salvaged wood. So we're using Red Wagon by Sweet Pickins. Love this paint. Love that I can make new things look old. I know it's not everybody's vibe, but I tell you, it is my vibe and I love doing it. So equal parts powder to equal parts water. Stir for 2 minutes and set it off to the side and let it thicken up. While my paint is thickening up, I'm going to take some candle wax. This has a lot of detail, a lot of bumpiness going on, and I thought this would be a great piece to use candle wax on. Wherever you put candle wax, your paint doesn't adhere to the item. So this is just a votive. I thrifted a whole box of them. I'm just using them up. So you just rub it on the entire piece. You could hit detailed areas if you wanted to. I just do the whole entire piece. And yes, I will do the inside also. one coat was plenty. It just soaked in where it didn't soak in, where the candle wax was. Look at how fun that is. So I'm just taking a plastic scraping tool, like you get off the Cricket or a Dollar Tree store, and yes, and using the vacuum to vacuum it up so I don't have as much to sweep. But I love this look. It is so fun to do. After getting it all scraped and vacuumed, and so I didn't have any of the paint chips, we are going to seal this paint in using Fusion's black wax. Look at it, just take that red wagon paint to the next level. Of course, if you added clear, it would change it, or if you added brown, it would change it. I just like the black with the red because it really makes that underlying wood just pop. Okay, now that I made the box awesome, these are the bottles that came with it, which kind of attracted me in the first place. I love that they're staggered. I like that they're different sizes, but they're just clear bottles. So I think we should make the bottles have a little bit of a labeling on it just for fun. So I have these tags that came with something, and they've been in my stash for a while, and I thought, you know what, I should use these up. Not that I'm going to string them and tag around them. I want to use them still as a label, but they're a little bit too new looking, so let's get them dirtied up and get them some age. So I think I have 11 or 12 of these jars. Just to be safe, let's do 12. You can always, put it in your stash and use it for later if you don't use it. So I'm going to coffee stain dye the paper. Now this is a little bit thicker, not quite like cardstock, but it's a thicker paper. So I'm using just instant coffee. I put water in a spray bottle. I'm going to put some instant coffee mixed in there. It's just room temperature water. We don't have running water in our workshop, so you just deal with what you have and what you have available. So, and if it spills out, that's okay, because I'm probably going to sprinkle some of the dry coffee after I mist the paper anyway. So yeah, just shake it up a little bit, mist your paper, and this, if you don't add something to your spray bottle, it will mold. And I just mix it up a fresh bottle all the time. So just a little dab will do ya. So yes, just a mist over the paper just transforms this new age paper into something fun and exciting. Now I went searching on Etsy. I was looking for some old vintage like seed packet, flower packet labels, and I ran across these. They caught my eye. I absolutely loved them. The price was wonderful. So what it is, it's an instant download, so it goes into your downloads in your computer, and like within minutes you can print them. So, and then the nice thing about it is I have 3 different size bottles, and I can just resize it in my printing option to fit each one of the bottles. And as you saw, it's 3 pages, so you get a lot for your $3 there. It was perfect. So now all I need to do is cut them off. And I could have just cut off the image that looked just like the seed packet, but I like the little wording and the labeling on top, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that. Especially since the bottles are long, I think these will fit perfect. And they actually fit inside the labels that I just coffee stain dyed. You can see the difference. I did off camera. I thought I had filmed it. I had sprinkled why my misting of my coffee stain was wet. I sprinkled some of the dry instant coffee on it, which gave it that splotches, and I did both sides because it's a clear bottle and you're going to be able to see through it. So just some decoupage transfer gel to adhere it to the label. This stuff is wonderful because it does not bleach out your image. It does not change your image, but I don't want that tag part. The bigger ones just fit, so you might slightly see them, but see how I did both sides because its bottles are clear. You could see all the way through them. I wanted it to look age all the way through. So my first attempt is I forgot how thick these labels were. The paper not so much, but the labels. So I did have to hold the first one down quite a bit to get it to attach. And then after I did get it to finally like start to dry and attach, I decided I should probably put another layer of the transfer gel right over the top of it to keep it moist to help it adhere. So my second attempt is then I decided that, okay, so now I'm going to do the same process of attaching the label to the tag. This is a smaller one, but now I'm going to go ahead and put the decoupage transfer gel on the back, but I'm also going to mist this. So what it's going to do, it's going to soak in and make it a little bit more pliable and bend a little bit easier. I'm going to take a dry rag and then press it down, holding it until I can feel like it's starting to shape around the bottle and it's starting to stick a little bit better. Move it in case I moved it, and now I can put another layer over it. That just was working out much better, just wetting, making sure that the label was wet all the way through. And it's no big deal. You can always wipe off the excess transfer gel off the bottle with a little wet wipe. You gotta love when somebody buys a project piece and then they don't use the project piece. Talk about a new purchase good. So yeah, and this still had the Hobby Lobby price tag on it. So yeah, so signage, right away I'm like, yep, some signage. But I don't want to have to work around the hanging system, so I'm going to go ahead and take those off so it'll lay a little bit flatter as I'm working on it. Now this is very raw wood, meaning if I painted it, the paint is just going to soak in. And I like to age items. I like to make items look old and distressed. So if I painted this, the paint would just soak right in. So I'm going to do a couple coats of shellac, sealing in some of that fiber, and even out the porosity of this wood. Kind of like what I did on the previous box where I used candle wax to prevent paint from sticking. I'm going to do it on this also, so giving it that old chippy type of look. And since I just had some red, the red wagon that I used previously, I had red wagon left over, so why not give this a base coat of that red wagon? Then since I want to make this old and chippy, I don't need to have complete coverage. So whatever's left in this little container of paint that I already mixed up, I think I can get it to spread enough around to have a good undercoat. Though I did not have any of the flour sack left over from my previous candles, I needed to make up a new batch. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to repeat the process again, adding candle wax on top of the dried red paint. Look at how awesome that board turned out. Now I'm going to be making an antique sign. One of my best sellers is when I put antiques on, I guess because we're an antique store. But yeah, so luckily look at this. This Hobby Lobby sign fits the Funky Junk stencil antique perfectly. Though I'm going to piece apart a couple different stencils just to make a unique sign. So I am going to use the antique. I'm using Fusion's coal black as my paint color, and makeup sponge as my dabber, my pouncer, and then I'm going to have to very gingerly like hold each letter because of the curve, but it's that perfectly imperfect. I'm not going to stress about it if it's not completely perfect. So dry technique where there's just a little bit of paint. This paint is not sealed in, so it should grab onto that paint. I'm trying to hold my stencil down to the best of my ability, hoping that it's not going to shift, holding it where each one of the letters where it has lifted. But since I'm going in a downward motion, it should be fine, but as long as I just really don't get my whole stencil to shift. So now I want to be able to add vintage, and I also want to be able to add market. So the market's on this farmer's market, the vintage, and I think there's also a flea market. I just need to center my market, and I'm going to do that towards the bottom and then fill in my vintage. Then since this one is so long hanging off to the one side, I'm just going to use a little bit of painter's tape to help hold it and secure, because I still need to press down on the stencil to work around the frame where it's hanging over. So from the antique collectible sign, I'm going to use and. So I'm just kind of eyeballing center over with the vintages, and by the time I got it done, I had my and a little bit on the low side. The Q swoosh was kind of throwing me off, but as I said, it's that perfectly imperfect. You can't go back. You only can go forward. Unless you want to repaint, and I don't want to do that. Stencils make it very easy to create your own unique sign. Nobody says that you have to use the whole stencil in one piece. You can take word pieces and parts. So now I'm just taking sandpaper, and you can see the paint start to fly. Whatever was there that's underneath with all that wax, it will come off. And I really want some of the lettering to come off because I want it to look like it's weathered. I'll take the air compressor, blow that sanding dust out of the way. I love this. It is so cool. I don't know. Should I keep it for myself? Do I have a place for it? Oops. Anyway, so now I need to seal in that milk paint. So I'm going to seal this in first with Homestead's Natural Clear Wax, and then add some of the aging wax to get into those crevices and really make it look like it's an aged piece. Before putting the hardware back on, and I know it's the back of the piece, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take some of this black wax and then just try to darken down that really new wood. It's not going to make too much of a difference. Just give it a little bit of age that it doesn't look like it's so spanking new. And then we'll return the hardware back on. Now for my last and my next project, there will be no paint. We're not going to be painting this. This is a beautiful old patinaed frame that still has the glass. That's a plus. So other than it needs a good cleaning, and I need to very gingerly remove the glass. Let's see how that works. So we're going to go ahead and remove the hardware first, whatever that kind of hanging system is. That's a little large for this little bitty frame, but I'm not judging. I just like the frame. And then after getting those removed, there's little nails, rusty, crusty nails that are holding the glass in that I also need to very gingerly remove. So now I'll just take some Dawn dish soap, some hot water, and we'll start to clean up the frame and the glass. So I'm hoping that the frame cleans up nice, that it doesn't, because sometimes these older pieces, next thing you know, you're washing them and the paint comes off. But it looks like it's going to stay. It doesn't look like I have to worry about that. Of course, the glass cleaned up wonderfully. So now I just need to make a backer. The frame was missing some type of a backing system. So I'm just using cardboard. So I'm just tracing out what size I need to cut my cardboard piece, just matching it up to the piece of glass. Then with a X-Acto knife and a metal ruler to use as a straight edge, I'll just go ahead and get this cut to the size that I need. Oh my, what is it about aged music sheets? And you know what? They're basically giving these things away most of the time. I think I have a whole stash from free piles at garage sales, so I love being able to use it up. So it's got that beautiful patina color that's amazing. So the same thing that I did with the cardboard, I'm going to do with the middle section so I can have all that yummy music notes in the middle of this. So to attach it to the board, I'm just going to go ahead and use some double stick tape. But for some reason, it just looked too clean for me. The color was beautiful, but I just want to add some more age. So I'm going to be using some more of that instant coffee that I have mixed up in this spray bottle, and then sprinkle some of the dry on it. And then, I get impatient and I don't want to wait for things to dry. So taking my mini press and some parchment paper to dry it so I can proceed on working on my project. If you didn't know, you can get pressed flowers off of Amazon. These are gorgeous. So this came in a 4-pack. Now I just need to decide which of the 4 packs I want to use with this gold frame. And I'm really thinking I'm gearing myself towards this bright turquoisey, almost turquoisey blue color. They are vacuum sealed in those little packages. Very nice. I have compliments to the person who packaged these. Now I'm going to be using some needle nose tweezers to move these flowers around, working with them very gingerly because of course I don't want to break them. And these tweezers actually came with this 4-pack, which was really nice. So just ever so slightly sliding them off. That's not the arrangement I want to do, but I thought it would be better to move them around one by one and kind of free them from each other. Now I'll just play. I'll just kind of move everything off to the side, start filling it back in, and figure out what is pleasing to my eye. So now I'll go ahead and I'll get the glass back on. I'll test it in the frame. I might tweak them a little bit to see what doesn't quite look right for me. That's the fun of it. It's not, and nothing's glued down or permanent. It's just pressed between the glass and the paper. But I won't be reusing those nails because now I am thicker, it stands up more, it's even with the back of the frame. So I have these little, I always forget what they're called, but they are for like mounting glass, or just like what I'm doing here, they will lay flat. So they just, you can buy a whole pack of them off of Amazon. I don't use them often, but it's nice to have them in my stash when I do use them. And all you do is just screw them in until you feel like the frame, what's inside the frame, is nice and tight. Then I will go ahead and add a little picture hanger at the top of it, just trying to center it. Of course, you can most definitely sit it on an easel, sit it against on the shelf. It doesn't have to hang, but just in case somebody does want to hang it, it's nice to have that hanger already. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and let me know down in the comments below which of the items I made over today were your favorites, and have I inspired you to go out and about looking for those types of treasures that sometimes people just, you have to see past what they are and just give them a little bit of new life. So let me know if I have inspired you in any way. So thanks again for watching today's video. And as always, if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you are new and you're checking out this channel for the first time and you liked what you saw, please hit that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know when we've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what I'm up to. Bye.